What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan here with a brand new video. Today's video, I'm going over the Monday Night Showdown between the Seahawks and Broncos. I apologize for not getting a video out. I just hooked up my new PC and getting all that situated, so I didn't get the time really to get it set up and good to go before the Sunday slate. So I do apologize, and I'll try to get all these videos out for you guys, so you have them throughout the week to watch. So let's get into it. So I'm going to compare DraftKings, FanDuel, and I try to do this during the season. So let's do it. I know some people like DraftKings, some people like FanDuel, so let's just compare, contrast. Maybe it opens up an opportunity that you guys like. Somebody sees something on one site that they like more than they do on the other. So let's get into it on DraftKings first. And two players over 10,000 this week. And it's rightfully so of who the two are. Russell Wilson and Javonte Williams. Javonte I really love for this game. I mean, Seattle's defensive line is not good at all. Javonte is a very good running back. I think without Melvin Gordon, the way we talk about Javonte is a complete different story. With that being said, I do think Melvin Gordon down there at 7,400 is almost the same, as good of a play, and you're paying down 3,000. It's just Javonte is a little bit better of a pass catcher, and I feel like they're just going to use him a little bit more overall in snap. Now, Courtland Sutton is also up there at 9,400, and then you get Geno Smith, who's the most expensive Seattle player, but DK Metcalf's right behind him. Check out FanDuel, and it's the complete opposite, and this is why I talk about opportunity and maybe using one site for a slate. Just because you're always on DraftKings or always on FanDuel doesn't mean that you can't switch on a slate just because of the player pricing. And there's difference in every time there's a showdown. There's usually a good difference in where players are ranked salary wise. So, and here they have Wilson, Smith, Javonte, DK, Penny, Sutton. So FanDuel doesn't view Sutton as high as DraftKings. DraftKings has him as a third. And then Smith, Metcalf, Judy, Penny. If we look at this, Penny's up there, Sutton's up there, Lockett's up there, and then Judy's there. So a little bit of a differential there. And now before we start talking into everybody, just going to go over the injuries of this game and who to watch out for with news. And it's KJ Hamler for the Broncos, third wide receiver here as of now. 4,400 if he does play. I think it's pretty good value at 4,400. If he doesn't play, we're looking at sorry about that. We're looking at Washington, Hinton, those two guys. I wouldn't be confident in going with either one unless you're playing multiple lines. And if that's the case, go for it. Seattle, Ken Walker, you're either getting Travis Homer or DJ Dallas. And still, even then, like, those guys might be involved. So look at that. I feel like they might rest Ken Walker here, in my opinion, just because he's not the starter. And you don't want to hurt your rookie's health in any way more than you have to. If he does play, by all means. But if I'm in that situation, I'm letting Walker sit this game and wait until he gets fully healthy to get him back. So going back to it, we see the price differential. Tyler Lockett is down here on DraftKings versus FanDuel. They still have him pretty far down, but he's still above Jerry Jeudy. So yet again, that's that opportunity that I mentioned of using different sites. And then you get Noah Fant before all the backup quarterbacks. And then you get Albert after. And on FanDuel, it's a little different. FanDuel doesn't view backups the way that DraftKings does. Like, most of the backups are towards the bottom half here. So we'll go back up. And the difference, KJ Hamler. If you look on DraftKings, KJ Hamler's really cheap. And on FanDuel, he is cheap at 9,000 on FanDuel. I know the pricing is different, but where you see Font, you see McManus, you see the Denver defense, KJ Hamler down there at 9,000. it's a weird price. So I definitely think you get a better discount on DraftKings. You get the kickers here on DraftKings. You get the Denver's defense right below Albert. And then you get Seattle, Marquise Goodwin. Like you mentioned, Broncos, Noah Fant, Hamler. Defense, and then Jason Myers. So Jason Myers, if you're playing a kicker, Jason Myers, you get cheaper. And it's the same thing on DraftKings, even though DraftKings usually puts defenses and kickers almost in the same area. So now let's get into the values. Why we do what we do on Showdown slates and find guys that are very cheap that have potential of getting some type of points so you could stack up that top talent. On DraftKings, we're going under 3K. Marquise Goodwin's there. I don't love it. I just don't love Seattle's situation right now. But he is somebody that's going to be on the field a lot for Seattle. Is healthy now and very speed. Like, he's got some deep speed threat, but that's also why you have someone like DK Metcalf. So 2,800, I don't love it. If you're playing a lot of lines, if you're 150 max, then sure, go for Goodwin here. If you're only playing a few lines, I wouldn't touch them unless some news changes. Travis Homer, you just got to watch for that. Ken Walker news. DJ Dallas is there as well, down here at 4,000. So I would watch that Ken Walker news. Travis Homer and DJ Dallas are both guys that you should watch, depending on the Ken Walker situation. Ken Walker's in, I wouldn't really touch him. Ken Walker's out, I would probably get some ownership if you're playing a lot of lines. Will Dissly's here at 800. It's not the greatest thing ever, but for where Noah Fant is at 6,200, it just always seems like Will Dissly finds a way to get points for Seattle. Other than that, that's all I'd really touch. Washington, like I mentioned, if Hamler's out, Hinton, those two guys, and that's if Hamler's out. But that's your value. That is your value if you're playing DraftKings. Now let's go to FanDuel and see where those guys are at. So Travis Homer here above Ken Walker, which is interesting. Dissly down here, 65, and then this is where I say you can find those values on sites. Marquise Goodwin is down to 6K for a guy that's going to be on the field a decent amount, and that's where you get value. So it'll be interesting to see the news. I don't think it really affects anything. I would expect Hamler to be in. Maybe Ken Walker's out. Like I said, I would rest him personally. But now let's get into the lineup. Like I like to give an example of what I kind of see and what I want to go after. So obviously just based off this slate, the Broncos are favored quite a bit. You want to get more Broncos, but also remembering that Seattle players can get points, just like someone like Noah Braun, very cheap, gets you a decent amount of points for that price that you pay him last night. So let's do DraftKings first. I know a lot of people like DraftKings over FanDuel, so we'll get that first. In my captain, I'm going to go someone like Javonte, and I want Russell Wilson. After that, it's deciding like where you want to find value. So I want to get someone like Rashard Penny, who I know is going to get volume. Whether it be good or bad, he's going to get volume. Now we need a cheap play, so we're going to go down and see. Like I said, there's not a lot down here that just screams value at all. And even with what we have left, it's 15,000. If I want to get somebody on Seattle side, it's going to be very hard. So let's say I just go for DK Metcalf. Like DK, I don't have a wide receiver for Denver yet. So let's go DK. We're left with that. So let's go KJ Hamler. We get a Denver wide receiver. It's not who we entirely want, but it's someone we can get to. We're left with about 2,300. and that is just plugging people in. So that's kind of an example of what I mean of you just got to find someone in that cheaper so you could pay up at some of these guys like Javonte, Russ, Shard Penny, DK, and then go from there. I mean, those are the guys that I really like is Russ, Javonte, and Rashard Penny as far as guys that I'd like to get in my lineup and keep there. So those are three. Let's go to FanDuel, do the same thing. The good thing about FanDuel is no matter who you play, they're that price. Your MVP is that price. So if we put Russ in there, say Russ is going to be the guy, let's get to Javonte. And that brings us down to 9,800. So big difference. Said we like Rashard Penny, so let's see what we could do. We're left with 8,500. So are there any guys down here? And we'll go Albert. Not huge on him, but that leaves us with 9,000. And let's say we run it back with the Noah Fant, KJ Hamler. Let's say that. It's a huge stack on Denver. Or just throw Noah Fant in there. Boom. That is what we get. So those are some example guys. I don't recommend just playing this. I recommend thinking about it, trying to come up with value, trying to make sure you have in there the top 3 guys that are going to get the most fantasy points. And that's what you got to do. FanDuel, you want to get the top 3. If you can get the top 4, go for it. But you want to try to get the top 3 fantasy point guys, and sometimes it's easier than others. Like I said, we have the values of the Goodwin, Hinton if Hamler's out, Will Dissly, Ken Walker. Like there's some values, but with DraftKings, I want to get at least 3. If I can get 4, I'm going to go 4. But you remember, you have to find value. So that is just kind of an example, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy the video and all the content I've been putting out. If you guys are interested in joining us, the link for our Discord will be in the description down below. So definitely check that out. We had a really good day yesterday in plays. So hoping to continue that streak into week 2. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to comment and subscribe to just know when I upload these videos. So yet again, thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.